What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, checking out the Spyderco Smock, as you may have guessed from the box on the table, which was actually signed by the designer Kevin Smock. And I grabbed a custom version at Blade Show, customized by Rivers Edge Cutlery, called the Smockadile. And for obvious reasons, anything that isn't the scales has been coated in this really lovely green color. And where you'd normally see a Spyderco logo, we have that crocodile head engraving, which is really cool. Just a cool iteration of this knife. Now, they took the base model, which has the carbon fiber laminate, G10 scales, and a CPM S30V blade, normally satin finish, and customized it with that coating. And so, although this version is no longer available, that standard version is available for around $212. This customized version was for Blade Show. They only made 10 of them, and you can see this one has been serialized, number 5. Hopefully that's picking up on the camera. But number 5, and I didn't request a special serial number, don't really care so much, but not sure if they were taking requests either. But I do think I was only the second person to buy this. I went straight there, had early access, first booth, and also the most expensive booth. This version was, I believe, $290. Also picked up a custom CWF micro Arcadium, which is really my first foray into custom flashlights. They made 20 of this. Kind of matches well, but isn't intended to match. This is just the Rivers Edge Cutlery, and they didn't sell all these ones, so these are actually still on the site. It's probably because they're extremely pricey, but if you want one, I'll link to both this as well as the standard version of the Smock in the description. Not affiliated with Rivers Edge Cutlery, but they do some really cool customs and have a great selection of knives otherwise. Now, for the rest of the video, I'm going to be talking about this as if it's the normal Smock, because it is. They just customized it, obviously. So only real difference I've been able to find is the website lists this as 3.7 ounces. I weighed it at 3.71 ounces, so not sure if they didn't do the extra decimal or if the coating adds a 100th of an ounce, but either way, it's basically identical. So, really cool knife though. I've been wanting a Smock for a while. It's one of the models, this and the Shaman, that's really spoken to me, and I was on the lookout for the right version of each. Now I have both finally. I got the Smock a long time before this one, but had been waiting to find the right version of this one. Now, it does have this carbon fiber laminate over G10, which isn't my favorite. I think it looks really good here, but would have preferred a lot of different handle materials over the laminate. I'm just not a fan of carbon fiber laminate. It does add a nice texture and grippiness to it though. And really medium sized knife here, medium to large I guess, 7.92 inches overall. You have 3.39 inches on that blade and another 4.53 inches on the handle. Already mentioned the weight at 3.71 ounces, and so kind of a nice weight to blade length ratio that people always like to reference. Now, the handle is very comfortable, really ergonomic, no major hot spots, able to get a full 4-finger grip, although I don't love being this far back. So you can see this kind of suggested placement in this finger groove for your index finger, and I feel a little bit far back here, and so I tend to choke up into this choil, which isn't necessarily a finger choil, and it's a lot larger than you'd need for a sharpening choil, but a good place to choke up, and that's where I tend to grip it. Feels really good, no hot spots like I said, and gets you placed nicely on this jimping, which is a medium-sized jimping, but really effective and pretty minimal, so I like that a lot as well. Now, this looks like a button lock and functions basically like a button lock, but it's actually their normal compression lock, just actuated by a button, and so I think that's pretty cool because I'm not a huge fan of the compression lock. I don't carry Spyderco's enough, or compression locks in specific enough, for it to feel natural to me, whereas I do carry a decent amount of button locks, and so this feels more natural even though it's the same thing, just actuated by a button. Really comfortable though. They did save some weight with this milling in both the scales and the liners, and so that's kind of a nice thing. You can see through it, and the pocket clip is reversible, so not a deep carry whatsoever. You can see there's probably about an inch or so exposed in your pocket. There's also a nice place for a lanyard hole, really well placed. Always like when they're kind of tucked back here rather than more middle facing or in the middle of that pocket clip. So really well placed lanyard hole. And this is going to be a super ambidextrous knife, so it's nice that it's reversible. Obviously, you can't move the lock itself, but button locks and compression locks in general are nice ambidextrous locks. And the flipper tab is obviously going to be really ambidextrous as well. Now, no jimping on that flipper tab, but really easy to actuate, and so not really missing it whatsoever. It's rounded off, so it's not a sharp edge, but just that kind of 90-degree angle makes it pretty easy to get access to. I've never had an issue where I'm slipping off of it, and it comes flying out of there. Super snappy action. It is on bearings, so it's going to be super smooth. And just a really enjoyable knife to fidget with, really nice to use. It's got this sheepsfoot style blade, which I think looks awesome, and really, really lovely hollow grind on here. And so, super impressed with this knife. At that $212 price point, I think that's a pretty good deal. I'd love to see, well, obviously they make it in other handle materials. I'm not a huge fan of this, so if I were gonna buy that base model, I'd probably end up swapping the scales out, maybe for something titanium, or it's just something that looks a little bit better. Never really been a fan of the laminate. Even regular carbon fiber might actually be better than this, but either way, it's still a really, really good knife, and it's one that's made in Taiwan, so this isn't a Golden Colorado knife. I know among Spyderco fans, there's some that want the USA just because they want USA made, but there's also a huge contingent of people that really like that Taiwan factory, and they do great work. All of the knives that I've had that have come from Taiwan, I've had no complaints whatsoever, so no issue with me that this was made in Taiwan, not in the USA. But just a really, really cool knife. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Just of the regular Smock, obviously I know I always hate doing videos on super limited edition products just because they're not available, but this is still just a standard Smock outside of that customization. And so let me know what you think in the comments. As always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And I hope you have a great one. Take care.